So welcome back to our part 2 of grading tests. And this time I want to show you how to create a test with a test pool. Some of you have, welcome back to our second part of grading tests. And in this part, I want to show you how to create a test with a test pool. Some of you have textbooks that come with digital question banks like mine did. It's an art history book, and so you can see I went to my book site, into the ebook site, and they have stuff for instructors, and one was like a test bank, and I can choose this. Can see it's for different kind of textbooks, and so I chose the Blackboard. I downloaded that, and then I can have this file, and I can upload that as a pool, and I can take question out of that to create a variety of tests. And I want to show you how to do that. So you go back, then you first need to import really this question bank you had. And to do that, what I would advise to do first, go again in your menu, in the lower part of your menu, to the course management, and then you go into the course tools. Click the course tools, and within the course tools is alphabetical. So the test starts with T, so it's rather at the end, right? So you choose test service and pools. And then you get to this page and click on pools because you want to create a question pool. And you can see in the menu here, you can import a pool. So choose the import pool button here. Then you browse your computer. Your file manager pops up. I had it in my download folder here, so I choose it from my test bank from my file manager. I didn't do anything. I just downloaded it. I just leave it as is in the zip file, right? And then choose this, and then submit. And it tells you it's complete already. And then you click OK. And then you go where you want to create your test. And you create this test, you create the shell, and then you draw in these questions. So I go back to my modern art folder here, and I create a new test here. And again, I go to my assessments. I choose test in the pop-up menu. And I create my test. I name my test, all the things we did before to create this shell. And I submit it. And then it comes to the part where you have to put in the questions. And instead of creating question now, I reuse questions. And what I want to do here, and I explain that more a little bit later, I create a question set. That allows me to draw in a lot of questions from my pool, from all the topics, for example, what I want to have maybe in my final exam. So I want to have from the different chapters there. And so I draw in maybe 100 questions. But my students will just see 20. That means I can choose in my settings then that students will get random questions, so question sets. So they can choose, basically these 20 questions come out of these 100 questions it shows available for this test. And so every student gets probably different questions, which can avoid really cheating. So anyway, let's go back to that. So we reuse the question, we create a question set, and we hit OK. This leads you to your whole page where your question pool is. And you see this is how it has imported. It shows all the chapters of my textbooks here, all the different pools, right? So I can choose the pools I want my questions to come from. So I say like here, chapter 1, 2, I need something. And there's another part. So you can choose by category, by topic, by levels of difficulty, by keywords. You can set it up in a really nice way. For example, let's think about, what kind of questions do you want your students, for example, in the final exam? How much do you want to create? Do you want to have essay questions in there? Because those you have to create. Maybe you just want to have multiple choice and multiple answer questions. So in my question types here, it's all on the left side where you have the pools. Where you can select the kind of questions from which pool and what kind of question types, categories, topics, and so on. So, and then the questions you can choose from. Yeah, you set up your criteria, and then all these questions show up here. And I'm like, yeah, I want to have all of them. And so it shows me displayed 1 to 25 out of 35. So it chose 35 questions into my test. And so to make it easier for myself to select all of them, see it's 2 pages, I say show them all. Then I scroll up, and here you have the top little checkbox that selects all these questions I have here. Remember, if I have 2 pages and I didn't say, show all, I have to go to my second page too and also select all. And that's why I did this right away, show me all. Then I can just click this little button here and then I submit. All my question set here with the 35 questions is now in my test. Now I can decide, see here, the number of questions to display. So I click on this box and I click how many questions do I want to have for my students to show up. Your total question in this question set can be like 100, 120, and you just show them 50. The more you have, the more randomized it can be that your students receive questions, right? So you set up how many they should get, and it's the same as and you also set up, and this is a little bit of a downside because you have to set up how many points each question. And sometimes, if you chose also essay question, you might want to have them more points, but if you have them in the question set, you can just set up how many points each questions within the set has, not single-handedly. So I would advise you can choose a new question set and give that more points, set that up with more points. So maybe do first multiple choice and then maybe essay question, even if it's just one, so you can set up a different kind of score. But here in my question set, I made it very simple, right? I have just multiple choice, multiple answer questions. Each questions I decide should have 2 points, and there are 10 questions in my display here. That means my test has a total point of 20, which you can see here. So I'm done with everything and I hit OK. And then I have to do the same thing as I did before and set up the settings when students, see that and how many attempts they have, just what we did before with the other test, right? I choose this test here, the exam, and I submit. And see, you go through the whole thing again here. Name. I do this a little bit quicker here. And you go through the whole page, and at the end, and here comes the part, right, what I talked about before, where you can randomize questions. And as you have in your question set now, these 35 questions, I can really, when I randomize that, as I said before, each student will not get the same question set. Or if you allow multiple attempts, they might get different kind of questions with each attempt. So that's the kind of nice part when you have a pool and you can draw in these question set. I hope this helps. And then in the end, of course, you click submit. And then here's your exam of week 13. And again, I didn't set the availability that students can see it because I set it with dates. And if I want to make it available, again, remember, you can click this little arrow here and you get this pop-up menu where you can see, edit your test, edit the test settings. Well, I hope this helped. That was our whole part about the test. And again, if you need help, feel free to call me, 334-604-8335, or send me an email at aharburg@alasu.edu.